we were talking to a group of people just a little while ago, and I asked them how many spend 10 minutes a day focusing on the things that they want. And not very many people raise their hands, right? That means most people, most of us, are spending most of the day thinking and feeling and thinking about things that we don't like. In today's episode, we talk about the law of rhythm. We've talked about a few of the laws of the universe. That's a heavy focus we have on our Raise Your Vibration weekly call. But we talk about the law of rhythm, how to use that in your daily life, and really how to start applying it and understanding how all these laws work together. We cover a lot of different information on some of the different laws, but law of rhythm mainly today. So we hope you enjoy the ability to prepare for, adapt in the face of change and uncertainty, right? So how resilient are we? Can we, in the downswing, be resilient and hopeful and have a good outlook and understand that things are going to get better and things are going to improve? Can we stay in a state of peace? Can we stay in a state of gratitude? You know what I mean? It's so important to not only use gratitude for what we want to bring into our lives, right? In the form of, future manifestation and feeling it right now, right? But it's also so important that when we're in the downswing, to be grateful for all that we do have.
Yes. And that's how you polarize the downswing is to focus on gratitude. That's your way out of the downswing.
Right. And then and the reason we're, discussing this law and the reason we bring this up is because on our Raise Your Vibration calls, look, one thing is one thing. It's very easy to hear the information. Obviously we're not the only podcast out there that's talking about, health and well-being and emotional health and mental health and resilience and law of attraction and becoming better and being your best self, right? There's a lot of people talking about it. I think where we're a little different is on these calls or the individual sessions. It's easy for me to say, well, be resilient in the law of rhythm. And it's like, well, how the hell do I do that? Mm-hmm. Right? The point is doing the inner work, right? It's not just like, oh yeah, hey, have gratitude. Okay. Well, what if I'm not grateful right now? It's all buildable skill. But at the end of the day, what's not a buildable skill is removing these emotions that get trapped in the nervous system, right? I guess you could build that skill too, but a lot of the times, I digress. You could build that skill too. You could do it on your own, but a lot of the times most people don't, right? And so that's what we're here for, is not just to provide the information, but on these calls, everyone's feeling lighter, everyone's feeling freer, everyone's being able to manifest what they want to manifest, is because when you remove these patterns from the subconscious, these neural patterns from the hardwired patterns in the brain, these neural patterns from the heart, these automatic or autonomic reactions that your nervous system has been tuned to for so long, of looking for fault or looking for, what's going wrong or being stressed out, being hyper stressed out, your body will always adapt, right, to these levels. And so your neural baseline, your often repeated emotions, thoughts, attitudes, behaviors could be that of just straight stress. And it's like some people operate,
That's their normal,
and in a decent fashion under a lot of stress. But it's how long can you stay in that? I mean, Jeff Fieldstead, that was on a couple episodes ago, he was just saying, I used to operate at that like all the time. And I went to the doctor and the doctor was like, yeah, dude, your adrenals are shot.
Right.
He's like, are you a high producer? Well, yeah. Or are you successful? Well, what did he say? Define successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, he made millions of dollars, right? But his health was suffering because his body was used to operating in a state of stress right? Fight or flight for so long that it was sustainable for a certain amount of time.
Right.
What we know better, though, is when you operate in a state of coherence, when you get that nervous system in alignment, heart, nervous system, and mind, and get that energy flowing, you can accomplish so much more and in a quicker fashion, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the point, is when these emotions are plaguing the nervous system and are keeping you in this stress, in this fight or flight, it's tough to, calm down enough to see a different point of view. It's tough to, remove those on your own. It's tough to, just outthink your emotions. It's tough to do, hear the information and then apply it. But that's where our group called the Raise Your Vibration is so important, because we clear the emotions on the group every week, relieving the nervous system, and then giving that, getting into that state of heart-brain coherence, where we can start installing new neurological patterns where you don't have to think about the laws all the time.
Right. Well, and to make it a little more like pinpointed on what we covered exactly on the call, as we, because you present this information, you teach it, and it's like, okay, well, that's interesting. Like, I'll be aware now. But then we get to work on what are the actual blocks that are preventing me from being in alignment with the law of rhythm. And so with the group that we work with, and this is the benefit of joining the calls, is you get specific work done that is blocking you from being in alignment, because the only thing that you'd be in alignment if there wasn't a block, and so as I prepare for the calls and kind of look at, okay, here's our group that we're working with, and these are we all carry the same emotions, the same, the vibrational frequency of fear is the same in you as it is in me. It's just a different maybe story or experience that we have that relates to it. But we all have these beliefs or a vibrational frequency of something similar. So the three in particular that we cleared in relation to the law of rhythm on our call on Wednesday night was feeling not worthy to connect with the spirit. Like, that is something that I think probably every single human being has felt to some degree at some point. Maybe they feel guilt. Well, that was the other thing, was guilt. It was, like, maybe, I don't actually, yes. Actually, they both, it was feeling not worthy because of guilt. So it's like, okay, then I can't, it takes us out of alignment with the laws of nature, because we think God is judging us, or we think we're not worthy to connect or whatever. And it's really not about that. I don't think. I think it's more, you're out of alignment, and you can either choose to stay there, or you can choose to get in alignment. It's either that, it's either align or suffer. Because if you're not in alignment, you're going at it alone, and you've got to use your own finite body and mind to try to figure this out. And so as we look for some of these blocks or this interference that keeps us from connecting to these laws, it was feeling not worthy to connect with the spirit. It was guilt. And then also toxic thoughts and irrational fears, which makes sense, and I know based on everybody that I'm meeting with, both individually and people that I run into just with this work, that is a common thing. Yeah. I mean, our toxic thoughts and irrational fears that's what I was like, as that downswing is coming, I can almost have this like visual of people like, no, just like these irrational fears of this downswing of what could possibly happen and why it shouldn't be happening and how they don't think they're going to be able to deal with it. So when you clear, a belief is a thought and an emotion that are connected, and it becomes, real to you. So when you find the thought, the vibrational frequency of the thought, and then the emotion that's attached to it, and you can almost like go into a computer system and hit delete, then you can clear that space out. But nature abhors a vacuum, meaning nature is going to fill that space in when it's cleared out, right? So if you pull a weed, something else is going to grow in that place. If you don't plant a seed, there's going to be another weed that's going to grow. And if you are in a worse environment mentally and emotionally than you were when this original belief started, like say this was a belief as a child, and now you're an adult and you've got so many more negative experiences that have stacked up, and now you're in more fear or more panic or feel less in control. If we clear these old beliefs and emotions out from childhood and you replace them with something bigger, we're kind of it's kind of counterproductive. So what we want to do is create with intention and replace those when we delete that file, basically on the operating system, we want to replace it. So the 3 that we replace it with intention during our meditation that Kevin runs, as we're planting these new seeds and really cultivating that and watering those seeds with intention throughout the week as we do our coherent practices and our meditations and start to visualize and create with an elevated emotion. The 3 that we exchanged those negative disempowering beliefs for was God loves and supports me on my journey. So if you're ebbing and flowing and God supports you, all right, that's great. Also, I'm creating my life with joy and stability. I'm stable in the upswing. I'm stable in the downswing. And it's either a blessing or a blessing in disguise. So I'm good either way.
Right.
I might have my preference on, how things are, but I'm good either way. And then the last one was I'm remembering the higher purpose behind each event. And as you're in a coherent state and your mind and your heart are aligned and we're reinforcing these statements, these beliefs, this vibrational frequency with an elevated emotion, that's the information, that's the vibration we're sending out to the universe. So then by the law of attraction, the law of correspondence, we get that in order inside of us. We know that everything has a higher purpose behind each event. We know God supports us on our journey. We know we're creating our life with joy and stability. We get that in order, and then that's what we send out to the universe. Then by the law of attraction, we have to draw that back to us, a supporting match. So that's the power of these laws and getting them to work in our favor and organizing that information and aligning with that internally so that as we send that information out to the quantum field, out to the universe, there's matches all over the place to support that. And that's where we start to live, the life of intention and possibility.
Yeah. I mean, it's always a reflection, a direct reflection of what we're feeling and what we're thinking. Mm-hmm. Right. And if you don't like your feelings and that you've been feeling constantly and you don't like your thoughts, that's what we got to change. Right. But that's been said for, the last centuries, right? There's a lot of information out there on, change your thinking, change your life, change your, I think it's more change your emotions, change your destiny because your emotions are more powerful than your thoughts. We need them both. Mm-hmm. But it's easier to feel gratitude and then to think possibilities of gratitude, right? It's easier to get in a coherent, heart-brain coherent state, in alignment, in a peaceful state, and then say, "Oh, why is it so easy for me to follow these laws of the universe? And why is it so easy for me to be resilient and shift, adapt, and recover, and really be in, the best state of being I can so I can make sure to attract what I want to attract, not what I don't want to attract," right? I mean, we were talking to a group of people just a little while ago, and I asked them how many spend 10 minutes a day focusing on the things that they want. And not very many people raise their hands, mm-hmm. right? That means most of us are spending most of the day thinking and feeling and thinking about things that we don't like or things that could possibly go wrong or waiting for the other shoe to drop, like you said. Well, we got to cut that stuff out. I'll use stuff instead of other words that I would, no, I'm just kidding. Mm-hmm. Other words that I would like to use, we got to cut that crap out really, because it's like that will bring you more of the same.
Exactly.
So we got to start becoming resilient, adapting in these moments, using these tools, pause, shift, and reset. First we got to start removing these beliefs from our subconscious that are dictating how we're thinking throughout the day, because how we're feeling and how we're thinking, because the subconscious again runs 97% of the show.
Yeah.
So if most of your programs suggest that you don't believe in possibility, for me to tell you, hey, just be resilient, right? Mm-hmm. Just think better. Well, a lot of people say that, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's, it's like it just falls on deaf ears, because it's like, that's a great idea.
Right. And
that sounds great. And I would love that. But then, as soon as you're not talking about it, you go back to the, automatic programs and the subconscious programs of, I don't believe that's possible. I'm frustrated. I don't think I can get ahead. I'm struggling, whatever it is. But I promise you that can be shifted fairly quickly.
Right. Right. And it makes it hard to evolve our potential and advance our soul, which is the purpose of why we're here, when we are chasing it, when we're always in a state of stress, when we're always trying to reconcile the memories of the past, and we aren't able to really trust the process and really learn to flow with life and live within these laws, so that in those states of resistance, we can notice and know how to pause, shift, and reset to pull out of it. It allows us to gain perspective and really evolve.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the point, is that perspective, and that perspective is always going to be dictated by your heart rhythms. Back to rhythm, right? Your heart rhythms are going to dictate your perception, and those heart rhythms are a direct result of the emotions that the heart is feeling in the moment, right? So we want to start changing perceptions. We want to start changing perceptual value. We want to start changing, not only does that dictate how you look at things, but that also dictates possibility and potentials that exist in the quantum field, in the spiritual realm for you in your life, right? Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people feel, unworthy, feel like they, that things are happening to them because of this, that, and whatever. But it's like, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and a gentleman brought up a good point, that it's like, there is a 1 in 400 trillion chance that you exist. Mm-hmm. Like there's bigger statistic that you should not exist,
right,
than that you should exist, right? And so if you start looking into that, then everyone that exists right now is by divine purpose.
Right.
Right. And it's like, the only reason then that, are there trials in life? Absolutely. But are they to help us grow? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So if you're not feeling in alignment, if you're not feeling good about, who you are, where you're at, that's because it's opposition's job to keep you away from that.
Right.
Right. It's opposition's job to, like you said earlier, God doesn't judge us. He just wants us to do better. God created the universe, whatever you believe, we believe in God. But it's like a parent for a child. I don't think you're ever, I don't think anyone hates their children when they don't do something that you think that,
right.
could benefit them. Right. Do you suffer inside as a parent being like, oh man, if you just make this choice or put in a little more effort, you could have whatever you want? Absolutely. Right.
Well, I think you can see from a different vantage point, a different perspective that, what things are out of balance that are causing that resistance or to suffer. But, intervening in that would intervene in that learning experience, and that's not the deal.
Right. Same with God for us, right? And so the bottom line is, the reason I bring that up is because we have so much potential. Everyone that hears this has so much potential. So many possibilities exist. Whatever's happening in your life right now may not be what you like.
Well, and to elaborate on that, it's not, you have so much potential because, you have special qualities. Everything that is God's or that is from source, we have access to. So we all have, it's not like, you're, I don't know.
You're
I don't know
special.
Or like, I see so much potential in you. We all have
they're not just empty words.
No, we all have the same access. And nobody's special. I mean, you know what I mean?
I just said they're special.
I know, but they are and they aren't.
No,
this is the problem. No, but here, you're not special in that, like, we all have access to every possibility that exists in the quantum realm because we are.
What you're saying is no one's different from the other. The only difference is what you apply.
Yes,
exactly.
You're not special in
anyone that makes.
I'm not special.
Anyone that makes a ton of money, or anyone that has a ton of peace, or anyone that has a relationship that's great, or anyone that is just a great person. The reason that they are is because they practice and practice and practice.
Yes, and they align with it. And it doesn't mean that was your potential and mine's different. We all have the same possibilities and all the same potential, because God or creative, like source, created it all, and we all have access to it.
Oh, you go back, you hear that phrase, God's not a respecter of persons.
Yeah.
Meaning that he gives freely to all that desire, right? That we understand. Once we understand the tools and the processes, once we understand the laws of the universe, once we understand how to get ourselves in a heart-brain coherent state, everything just starts showing up. Literally, everything just starts showing up. We see radical changes in people in a very short amount of time, right? A lot of people do in every different fashion, in this world. But what we're here to help is to remove those emotions, get you in alignment with heart and mind, get that heart and mind electromagnetic field expanded so greatly that you become more energy than particle, more energy than matter. And when you're in a high energetic state, you will bring to you the energy that you are a vibrational match to. Right? Einstein said it back in the day. This isn't new material.
Yeah.
Right? But everyone has such great potential. That's what I should say, not just potential. Oh, you have potential. No, everyone has such great potential, right? Everyone's here for a purpose. If not, you wouldn't be here. Like, that's it, right? And so what is that purpose? What is that potential, right? Life is to be enjoyed and fulfilled. Raise your hand if you feel fulfilled in life. There's not many hands usually when we ask that, because fulfillment comes from purpose. Purpose comes from the heart. Most people's hearts are guarded or blocked. Right? Or, friend, call him a friend. He's a great individual. Dr. Bradley Nelson, that created the emotion code, new book out, The Body Code. Man, we started reading that, and incredible information. We're going to have him on the podcast soon, but
Heart wall.
Yeah. Sorry. Thank you.
I knew where you were going.
The heart wall. I mean, he estimates that 93% of people in the world have a heart wall, because we've all been hurt. We've all been traumatized. We've all gone through things that we don't want to go through. We just have to allow that to pass and remove those emotions so we can create the best version of ourselves and not stay in that place, right? There's too many examples of people that have been through horrific things and have come out so great, right?
Well, why? Because of the law of polarity,
right?
If they wouldn't, it's an equal opposite. So as difficult as life has been, or the difficult things they've been through, they have the ability then to experience that on an equal opposite level. So someone who's been through something extremely challenging, and I talk to clients about this all the time, where they've maybe had horrific upbringing, some really, really just heinous things that have happened. But it's like, okay, you have the ability then to have compassion and relate to others' suffering to a level that others might not. And that is a gift. So once you are able to pull out of that depleting emotional state and transmute that trauma to love, then you have that ability to relate to others who are suffering. And that is being able to find stability in the difficulty and the adversity in life. And it's a skill. It's a skill to develop, to be able to keep that perspective no matter what's going on, no matter what's happened, no matter what's happening in the moment. Can you learn to get up on top of that wave and ride it in a state of flow? Can you be resilient in the downswings? Can you, all these, as you start to apply that, it's like, man, I just eliminated a lot of worrying, a lot of trying to figure different things out. It's like, I just need it's like a whole paradigm or perspective shift entirely. It's like the law of relativity that we talked about a couple weeks ago on our call. It's like, this is horrible. Well, compared to what? Maybe it's not. Like, oh my gosh, this just blew up in my face. Actually, never mind. It actually is coming together better than I thought, And once you start to apply that, it lightens the load. It lightens what you feel like you have to be so responsible to control and to be able to work with it and just manage your state of being. That's a Zen state. That's a state of balance and harmony and coherence. And then things can be going on around you, and ain't no thing.
Right. But that's the point. I mean, that's what we're here for. That's what we want to help with is, we've been through our own stuff, obviously, it wasn't fun, but it was necessary, right? It was necessary to develop us into the people that we are today. And, and we just enjoy life that much more, you know, even when something doesn't go the way, you know, that we wanted to. Like our dog the other day, all of a sudden had a huge mass under her, you know, our little French bulldog had a huge mass under her chin. And we were like, oh my gosh, I hope that's not cancer.
Well,
right?
Kevin kept looking at her going, man, she's filling
I was like,
out.
man, she's
really
getting thick.
thickening up.
She's putting on some muscle.
And I looked at her and I was like, that is only on one side. And I grabbed it and it was like the size of a tennis ball.
Yeah, it
huge
was. Oh, I think
growth. It was massive.
It's a baseball a little bigger than a tennis ball?
Yeah.
I should probably know that.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit.
But it was
anyway,
big growth.
Yeah, it was this.
And it was like, well, I guess it's possible that it could be worst case scenario, you know?
Yeah, but in the moment, it was like, okay, love little Harley. And it's like, okay, is it possible that it's a cancerous tumor? Maybe. Mm-hmm. Is it possible that it's just maybe an abscess or, you know, maybe, you know, one of the other dogs bit her, you know, created an abscess there? Is it possible that it's, you know, something else entirely? And out they get to the vet and it's, you know, a blocked salivary gland. I had one of those. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, it was potential. There was a potential for anything. So we just figured we'd figure out what it was and some steroids and antibiotics. And she's a couple days in and she's feeling great. And, you know, we are grateful that it wasn't worse and we're able to take care of it. But it was like, okay, well, it's possible that it could be worse, but we'll just work with it.
Right. We got to keep on keeping on. But, you know, luckily it turned out, you know, everything's good and well. But at the end of the day, you know, all of us, the point is there's things that we don't know, obviously what's going to happen in a day. But can we be resilient? Can we be, you know, hopeful? Can we look for best possible case scenario in all things that happen, right? There's some new friends I met at the gym, a mother-daughter, and they joined the call 2 weeks ago. And it's just so great to see people be, you know, happier, be freer, be lighter. You know, she was telling me the day before that she was just like, I'm just frustrated and things like that. And, you know, anyway, it's just, I won't go too deep into it because I'm not going to tell people stories, but like, at least people that don't authorize me to tell their stories, but it's good to see, you know, that quick. Mm-hmm. You know, joining these calls. That's why, you know, I don't think there's a lot of group coaching calls out there. Mm-hmm. A lot of ones that focus on business, a lot of ones that focus on, and they're all great. We designed this call to help the masses align with their hearts and their minds, you know, to align with these laws of the universe, to align and start producing high amounts of energy. And it's somewhere that you can show up on a weekly basis instead of just a one and done thing or, you know, a 10-week thing or, you know, and then I think all those things can be great too. Mm-hmm. But this is designed because there's always to be a weekly help. And if you miss the call, don't worry, you still get the energy work done, but there's the recorded call and the membership. But, you know, not really heavily pitching this call, but like just want you all to know, like this is what we're here to help with. Is there's too many people, you know, like those two friends I just mentioned at the gym that, you know, they deserve better. Everyone deserves better. Right. And we're the only ones that hold ourselves back from that. We play so small. God, I just listened to this clip today. I should just, you know, put it up in the mic, but it says self-doubt. There's so many of us that doubt ourselves, but the difference is everyone else that sees us is scared of our potential. Right. Because we are so innately powerful, right? Again, back to the like, you have such great potential. No, but
great
really though.
Being special, but not really.
Yeah. No, but can you?
Well, I mean, listen, you're special because you matter, but you're not special in that you have the ability to access anything anybody else does. And you know, nobody is any more special than anyone else. So.
Yeah, we're all special, but we all have different unique qualities, right? Qualities of the heart. Some people are better teachers. Some people are better, you know, at service. Some people are, better friends. Some people, like, everyone has their purpose and everyone has their potentials that they can develop into. But, you can have anything you put your mind to, right? George McFly told that to Marty McFly, right?
Yes.
But you can literally do that, but it's accessing the power of the heart and the power of the mind at the same time. But you can have anything you want. And, if you don't believe so, join our calls and see what happens. Because I promise, like, things happen all the time.
Well, I think the calls, back to that, is, talking about these principles and then being able to actually do something with it and find, pinpoint the interferences. And then also we end with a group meditation where we are sharing heart energy. So it expands our individual field. We collaborate with others that are on the call, and then that's what we're sharing to the planet. And so we're doing our part to try to contribute that heart energy to raise the vibration of not only ourselves, but to the planet, to humanity.
And it's not just a moniker or a name, a raise your vibration, right? We literally, at the end of these calls, we raise our vibration by accessing the power of our heart, expanding our electromagnetic field. And like Altee said, the more people that are on the call, the better the emotional release. There's pinpointed emotions that are removed every week. You'll feel lighter. You'll feel freer. You'll sleep better. And then the group meditation, the more people we have with open hearts, and this is studied.
I was just going to say, raise your vibration isn't just a cute little catchphrase.
Yeah.
We are literally, you can measure with instruments that we are literally raising individual vibrations. People have their heart rate variability monitors. They can see it. You can measure it. And so it's literal. It's not just a cute little term that we're like, oh, this sounds good. Like, let's raise our vibration. You can literally measure that state. And
if you're afraid of meditation, or you've struggled with meditation, this is a little different though, but it is a meditative practice, but with the power of heart-brain coherence. And when the heart's in coherence, it beats in rhythm, and you access the intelligence, the intuitions of the heart, because the heart's field is that much more powerful than the brain's, but the heart sends those signals to the brain opens up. You start getting coherent energy in the brain, and the brain starts sending that down to the heart, and the heart sends that back up to the brain, and the nervous system is communicating in perfect harmony. You start to create a lot of different potentials that exist already, right? All dreams are all possibilities that are possible, right? If you dream it, it's either done or can be done because it's a conscious energy, right? And so that's what we want to change. But if you're new to meditation or whatever, we do, the longer you meditate, the better. Look, but we show, dramatic increases in vibration in 5 to 10 minutes. So it's not something that you got to, section off, an hour of your day for. Right. And look, if you can, great. But at the end of the day, when we remove these emotions in the meditation and open up our heart fields, it's called constructive interference, where the more energy is coming together with other energy, it creates more energy, right? And so the more people we have on the call in this heart coherent state, the better everyone feels, and then the better, the higher our vibrations are.
Well, and if you feel like you're struggling on your own, you're doing all the things, you're doing your gratitude journal, you're doing the practices, but you're struggling, join the group. Let the group carry you. Let us help you, facilitate that and benefit from other people's intention. And then you'll definitely benefit from that, and the group will benefit from you too.
Well, and they don't just say power in numbers just because, right? We know that the more people we have, the more, the more the electromagnetic fields of everyone are expanded, the higher the vibration of the individual, the higher vibration of the group. I mean, we can start shifting and affecting a lot of different people around us. And that's the point, right? Is have that carryover effect that people feel good most of the time. That's what we want. Yeah. I think that's what everyone wants, right? Sustained emotional change. Yeah. But that has to be done through the heart and the brain, not just the brain, not just the heart. It has to, we got to remove the emotions that are preventing the nervous system from getting in alignment, then open up the heart and the brain to new possibilities and start creating those possibilities.
Exactly.
But yeah, so, if you're interested and this intrigues you, come join the group call, reach out to us, and we do individual sessions as well, but we see great results with people. People feel better. People feel freer. It's a movement we want to create. I know there's a lot of people that do, similar stuff out there. We think we're, a little unique in the fact that, you can measure this with heart rate variability monitors and the meditative practices. But then clearing those emotions is what's, really together the benefit of, removing those emotions and then raising the vibration exponential. But yeah, thanks for listening to this episode. Thanks for listening to the Healing Works podcast.
If you have any questions or you have any recommendations on anything you want us to cover, send us a message if you have, questions or...
we should probably do a Q&A one.
Yeah.
But send us some questions. We'll provide some answers, and we'll keep pushing out, the best content we can. So, but again, thanks for listening. Yeah. Thanks for listening. We appreciate, everyone that's hearing this, everyone that's watching this, whether it's, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. We appreciate you all, and we hope you have, a great day and a great week. But again, thanks for listening to the Healing Works podcast, where our efforts are to improve your individual lives by accessing the power, teaching you how to access the power of your heart and the power of your mind so you can create new realities and new potentials and new possibilities in your life.